The Philadelphia Flyers have selected 6'2.5", 201-pound center/left wing Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier was one of the leading point producers for the U.S. NTDP this past season. He played on the top line with fellow top rookie prospect Logan Cooley. I don't know why I called him a rookie. They're not rookies yet, but U.S. NTDP players. Cutter Gauthier is exciting. It's an exciting pickup. A guy that seems to have all of the physical tools, all of the physical gifts necessary to be a top-end player in the NHL. And just like Yuri Slafkovsky, he's a guy with the molding to be an elite player in the league. Has he shown signs to be an elite player in the league? Yes. Have they been consistent enough for everybody to assume that he will be? No. So I think that's the one thing with this pick, is that you look at a guy who has shown flashes to be something really special, but has yet to show it long enough. Having said that, that really predicates on the fact that he is kind of a fast riser, very fast. Now, this year he did have 65 points in 54 games for the US NTDP with 34 goals and 31 assists, primarily a goal scorer, but plays in all situations. Played for the penalty kill, the power play. He plays on 5-on-3s. He plays around the net. He can shoot. He can pass. The fact that he's playing left wing for the US NTDP and then going to play center shows how diverse his game is. Now we'll see how good his playmaking, his play driving skills are, because that's what we really need to see from a guy like Cutter Gauthier to justify picking him at number 5. But I have a feeling that this one might be a home run. I mean, this is the type of pick that you really look to kind of have a fast riser, but slowly fast riser who's always had a high pedigree, but then all the gifts and all the tools just start coming together. And anybody who knows me, I love the USNTDP. This program just knows how to develop NHL players. At the very least, this guy seems like a second-line player. I think the question is, will he be a second-line player? Will he be a top-line player? Maybe he's the Nolan Patrick that we thought Nolan Patrick would be, right? They have a very similar skill set, size, but I think from what I can tell, Gauthier is a little bit faster, definitely meaner, definitely a heavier shot. I don't know if he's going to be as good of a playmaker as Nolan Patrick. Patrick was kind of more of a setup guy, long vision, lots of long passes as well, especially at the junior level. A lot of setup on the power play. I think there's going to be some of that with Gauthier, but we'll see. I mean, he could end up being better than Patrick ever was. We don't really know, and that's the thing about a lot of these drafts. You don't really know. You don't know who's going to be the best player in the draft. It's all the time that the guy at number 1 is the best player in the draft, but usually that guy is like franchise caliber, right? Like the Matthews pick, the McDavid, but years that you don't really know that, even like the famous 2003 draft, with Eric Stahl going, like Eric Stahl is excellent, but you can make a case he wasn't the best player in that draft. And that draft was full star players. I'm not saying this is one, but I think it's similar in the respect that this is a draft where most of the guys that are taken in the first round are probably going to be good players, right? It's the drop off beyond that. It's the does it extend into the other rounds? Is it as clear? And I think this is not a very clear, like Simon Nemec could end up going first overall for all we know. The fact that Yuri Slafkovsky had 5 goals, 5 assists playing against pros and took the first overall ballot. I mean, it shows you what kind of draft this is. This is a high potential draft, but quite frankly, not everybody's put the tools together. And that's where there's question marks on some of this. But Cutter Gauthier playing in the league that he's playing, again, that USNTDP program, I don't have much doubt in it. So I think the Flyers hit a home run here. By the end, he was the pick that I wanted. I understand the one of David Juracek, and if we would have taken him, I would have been happy. I've been happy with anybody because I can't say, I learned my lesson. Learned my lesson from all these drafts. You have no idea who's going to be the best player in this draft. None of us see enough footage. Some of us see some, and even then you're wrong. You like I said, you don't have to find out who the best player in the draft is. You just have to hit. But I do think Gauthier, at least the elements that they put together and that he puts forth with the attitude, with the program that he's from, potentially could end up being the best player from this draft. It could absolutely happen. People could say that that's crazy, but it's not really that crazy. Just like Yuri Slafkovsky at the beginning of the year, nobody would have said that, and now he ended up getting first overall, right? Everybody would have said Shane Wright. I remember listening to every single scout person. There's no reason. We're not changing shit. This is all talk. Boom, he lands at 4th. This is development years. So it is what it is. Doesn't mean guys won't be great. but we'll see. I think Cutter Gauthier brings a lot to the table. I think he's going to be a big part of this team, and I can see him playing on the Flyers next year. And that's really what this team is missing. I mean, if they can add an elite center to this team, I mean, you're talking about a humongous change. The injuries last year should not be discounted. I'm not even talking about Ryan Ellis. I'm talking about just Sean Couturier and Kevin Hayes. Like, without having that 1-2 punch, I mean, forget playoffs. Like, forget being competitive. It was never even possible, even with sliding Drew over there. But if we can find another center that is like a truly elite center, this is a very difficult thing to do. But if Gauthier is that guy, and next year he comes in and he's like lights out and he puts up 60, 65 points in his first season, and you're like, freaking, who the hell did we just draft? It takes the Flyers immediately out of the bottom. Like, immediately. It's an immense game changer to find a top line center. And it's one of the biggest reasons the Flyers are held back right now is missing Nolan Patrick. I understand why people are so angry about it. I mean, that type of miss can set you back. Just like if you hit, like a Cale Makar, it pulls you forward. That level of player, that is enough of a slide from being average to good to great to incredible to legendary team. Sometimes you can withstand it with depth, but it looks to me like right now the Flyers need to hit a home run, so they're swinging for it. I think this is actually a home run swing in combination to it. People might not see that, but again, like, imagine this guy ends up being the toughness of Tom Wilson. Again, I'm just throwing this out. Plays center and puts up 80 points a season. I'm not saying he's as tough as Tom Wilson. He's not like that. But he's a pretty tough, confident guy. And he wants to be the best. So maybe he'll be the best. I think the tools and the gifts are there. I think it's a home run hit. And I like it. And let's see where they go with the third pick in the draft. And I think it's good that they didn't panic about this draft and do anything. Next year is going to be a really important draft too. Flyers are just not there. If they can find another young player to bring into this team, that they can make a smart trade without sacrificing one of these high picks. Because they're, like, if the Flyers are up for the first overall pick next year, like, you gotta. I mean, that's franchise changing. That's obviously what Chicago is doing. So that's our backup. Otherwise, you move forward slowly, and I think Gauthier is a great first step. I'm excited about him. Everybody else should be excited about him. And just to talk a little bit more about his gifts. So physically. So the testing portion of the NHL scouting combine, and just pulling these numbers up here. This is from NBC Sports Edge. So Gauthier was among the top 10 in 5 categories, including first in Wingate with a peak power output of 18.3 watts per kilogram of body weight. Sounds good. He tied for 4th in skating long jump with 112 inches, ranked 8th in vertical jump, 19.78 inches, finished 8th in the pro agility shuttle run, starting to the left. I don't even know why they talk about starting to the left. Sorry, a little new to that. 4.46 seconds, and tied for 9th with 15 pull-ups. The 18-year-old forward was pleased with his performances. Gauthier sits at number 3 in the NHL scouting final ranking amongst North American skaters. He is poised to play for Boston College next year. And the whole point of that is, again, he's a little bit of a physical freak. And if he grows a little bit more, if he continues to impress physically, again, this is kind of what I emphasize. They drafted a guy with all of the physical skills. Like, is this the Morris Sider of this draft? But he's a forward. Just saying. Doesn't have to be a defenseman to be a guy who has all the physical gifts, plays physically, is great offensively. It's interesting. Maybe he'll be better than Sofkovsky. I don't know. Just throwing that out. But I'm excited about this. Welcome to the team, Cutter Gauthier. You guys should be excited about it. I think the Flyers did a good job with this draft pick. I don't think they had to do anything crazy. Let me know what you think, though. Put it in the comments. Vasily and I will obviously be talking about it on the podcast, but wanted to get my early thoughts out there. And once I see them, maybe my thoughts will change. So again, I've only seen some footage online, the research I've done. Once I see him, I can, watch more footage online. I'm sure I'll catch some NCAA games to try to watch this kid without a doubt. And then inevitably for the Flyers, we'll have some real opinions on him. But it's an exciting day and hopefully franchising day for the Flyers because God knows that Chuck Fletcher needs a win right now. Remember, stay gritty.